Hey everyone, Business Development with Brian here, and today I want to talk about the challenge of starting. Now, this is coming up as a result of a conversation I had with a colleague with respect to a certain task that he had to complete. It was a daunting thing, and he found himself continually distracted and doing other things and procrastinating rather than getting to that task. However, he noted to me once he found that he had some time to do the task and he actually started, things went a lot more smoothly than he anticipated. He was able to gather some momentum and keep things going and get the task done. So that's what I want to talk about today, is that challenge of starting. Whenever you're trying to begin a task, the hardest part is the fact that you're starting from a position of inertia. You haven't done anything yet. Kind of analogize this with being a rocket ship. You are on the launch pad, you haven't taken off yet, and you need the most amount of energy and fuel and input in order to start that takeoff process. However, once you've started, you're going to have momentum that'll carry you up into the atmosphere. I'm not actually sure if that's how rocket physics works. I'm assuming the most amount of fuel is needed at the beginning point, but let's just assume that's the case for the point of the analogy. Now, today I want to talk about using this momentum in a micro fashion and a macro fashion. Now, on a micro level, you want to start with the thing that is hardest. That's called eating the frog, and this is what this poorly drawn picture of a frog is supposed to represent. When it comes to task completion, in order to build that momentum and deal with the challenge of getting started, I highly recommend that you think about, okay, what is the hardest task that I have to do today, and start with that at the beginning of your day. The reason being is that's the time when you have the greatest amount of energy and focus, and if you just get that momentum going, you may find that eating that frog is a lot easier than you think. Now, the other part that I want to talk about when it comes to getting momentum and the challenge of getting started is at a macro level. Now, at a macro level, you want to make sure that you're trying to implement what's known as a 2-day rule, or at least I recommend that you try to implement it. Now, what the 2-day rule essentially is, if this is an example of a week on a calendar, if you're trying to build a certain habit or do certain tasks regularly, try to make sure that you do them without missing 2 days in a row. That's what the 2-day rule is. So, for example, we have 2 days where great, that habit was completed, but then we missed one day. That's okay, we did it the next day. But if we miss 2 days in a row, you have to make sure that you do this day on the third one, because you want to make sure that you're keeping that momentum going. You don't want to be in a situation where you've dealt with the challenge of getting started, you've lifted off from the launch pad, and then you start running out of fuel and you fall back down to the ground and you have to get all that fuel and energy back together again in order to take off again. It just makes things that much harder, makes it harder to build those habits. So anyway, hope that makes sense today, guys. Just wanted to talk about the challenge of getting started and some examples of how to deal with that on a micro and a macro level. If anyone has any questions, comments, want to share any anecdotes, of course, I always love those. Please let me know down in the comments below. Have a great day and we'll talk soon. Thanks.